Good afternoon. My name is Ron Weich, and I'm the Dean at the University of Baltimore School of Law. You students know that, but I know there are parents and other family members here to cheer you on this wonderful occasion, so I'm pleased to introduce myself to them. Well, I really enjoyed that introduction. We saw those pictures of gatherings. Remember when that was a thing? When we could be together for a judicial reception or a clinic swearing in or a softball game. And just to walk through the building and see friends and colleagues and professors, those were the days. Unfortunately, that's not today. We all know why we're here in this Zoom format, but we're going to make the most of it. And there are advantages to this Zoom format because others can join us more easily. I'm so pleased to see many of my faculty colleagues here, as well as parents and friends and spouses and brothers and sisters of the inductees. So this is our biannual ceremony to induct members, to induct students into the Royal Graham Shannonhouse III Honor Society. And I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes telling you the genesis of this honor society. And I'm going to turn the Zoom over to my colleague, Dean Dion Kohler, to talk about the criteria by which you are to be inducted into this ceremony. Then I'm going to introduce a guest speaker who's going to tell us about Professor Shannonhouse, a legendary figure in our community. Then Dean Schultz, Dean Vicki Schultz, is going to formally induct you. She's going to read your names. And it's a lot of names this year because, as you know, we did not induct students into the Honor Society last fall due to the fact that we had pass-fail grading in spring of 2020. And we'll say a word about that in a moment. But I just, that's what's going to be this program. But basically, each of us who speak to you will say what I'm about to say. Congratulations. Congratulations, students. And thank you for your hard work. I remember vividly speaking to all of you at your orientation session. And I congratulated you on that time for the decision to come to law school, to become lawyers, to join this community of people concerned about the rule of law and access to justice and equal protection under the laws. And I said, what a noble thing you had decided to do. And congratulations on being admitted to our law school. We're so delighted to see you here. But now I get to say something additional. Thank you for your hard work and congratulations on your success. About 7 or 8 years ago, soon after I became dean, I realized that we had a mechanism for recognizing academic accomplishments at the end of your law school career. When you walk across the stage of the Lyric Theater, that will again be a thing, to accept your diploma, those of you who succeeded academically would be inducted into a different honor society. But we wanted to do something while you're in law school to recognize your academic accomplishments early in your legal education for a couple of reasons. First of all, we want to acknowledge the hard work that has gone into your success. Really, these first semesters of law school are the hardest. I mean, this is when you're learning the new language. This is when you're really rolling up your sleeves to learn the building blocks of your legal education. Also, we wanted to give you a credential that would help you in the wider world. We wanted to give you a badge that would enable others, employers, judges who you might be clerking for, others in the legal community, to see that you are among the best and the brightest at the University of Baltimore School of Law. So that's what we're here to do today, to recognize your fabulous academic accomplishments. As I see it, this reflects not just your intelligence, because everybody who gets into law school is intelligent. What this reflects is your focus, your perseverance, your maturity in approaching your legal studies. It's not an easy thing. All of us know that. And you especially have persevered through this pandemic. The grades that have enabled you to be inducted into this honor society include the grades that you received last semester when we were all virtual, essentially. And we know that has not been the easiest thing. It's required a special kind of resilience to succeed through these mechanisms that we have been teaching you. So thank you for staying with this, for being true to your goals and getting this far in such fabulous fashion. So let me now ask Dean Kohler to talk about the specific criteria that we have used to select you for this honor. Dean Kohler.
Thank you, Dean Weiss. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It is so wonderful to be with all of you. And for the students who are on this Zoom, I invite you, put in the chat how you feel about this incredible honor because we are excited for you. So my faculty colleagues and I have the pleasure of teaching you. You are our law scholars, our TAs, our research assistants, and in the last 2 semesters, you're our Zoom assistants, indispensable. And we work with you in so many different ways. And students like you are truly why we teach. And on behalf of my colleagues and myself, I want to sincerely congratulate you on all that you have accomplished, especially under these very difficult circumstances. So what I want to do is I want to take a few moments to explain the criteria for induction into the Shannonhouse Honor Society and what it means to be a member of the Honor Society. So students must complete 32 hours of coursework to be considered, which means that they have completed their first year courses. Students with a grade point average of 3.15 or higher are eligible for membership. And those with a grade point average of 3.7 or higher are inducted as distinguished scholars. Now, you may wonder why the faculty thought it was important to recognize students' academic performance through the Shannonhouse Honor Society. Your grade point average certainly appears on your transcript. You can put it on your resume. And so one point of view would say that that number speaks for itself. But really in another way, a number can't fully convey what you all have accomplished, and especially now. The students in the Zoom with us tonight are well aware of the law school's grading policies. But for our guests, I think it's worthwhile for me to explain how law school classes are graded. They are graded differently than other types of graduate coursework, and first-year courses are subject to the most rigorous grading standards. In the first year, grades in all classes must meet a required average for the class as a whole, as well as a required distribution of grades along the grading spectrum. That means that to earn an overall average of 3.15 in the first year, a student must demonstrate excellent performance across the board. Obviously, for our distinguished scholars, a 3.7 is that much more difficult to achieve. So the law school felt that your grade point average, standing alone, really didn't fully represent all that you have achieved. We want you to know, we want your family to know, we want the legal community to know that what you have done is truly, truly special. It demonstrates hard work, dedication to your studies, and it is something that is truly worth celebrating. And so we created the Shannonhouse Honor Society to send the message to you and everyone else that you are the academic leaders at UB Law School. And because you are the leaders, you have special roles to play. You all will be mentors and role models for the students who come after you, and you carry into the world the proud tradition of academic excellence that UB Law School is known for. So let me add my congratulations to those you've already received. We are so very proud of you, and it's my honor to celebrate your academic achievements with you today. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Kohler. When we created this honor society some years ago, we decided we should name it. If we're going to give you the chance to put this on your resume, you should put somebody's name on it. And we didn't have to think long about who it should be named after. There is a professor in the University of Baltimore history who was legendary for his commitment to academic excellence and rigor. And besides, he had a really cool name, Royal Graham Shannonhouse III. Doesn't that just make you shiver? And you'll now have that long, impressive name on your resume as members of this honor society. But Professor Shannonhouse died some years ago. He died before I became dean. I never had the privilege of knowing the man. I've only heard about him. And we felt it important for you students who are going to carry his name as one of your credentials to know something about this individual. So our tradition has become to invite a University of Baltimore Law School alumnus to come to this ceremony and tell us all a little bit about Professor Shannonhouse. A little trip down memory lane. So this year's guest speaker is Alan Garton. And Alan, I think, is on the screen, and he'll speak momentarily, but let me say a word about Alan before he does. Alan is a 1980 graduate of UB Law School. He's a director and officer at the firm Fetter and Garton, which is one of Baltimore's most established law firms, and he practices in the areas of business law, estate planning, real estate, civil litigation, and personal injury. He's been recognized as one of Maryland's super lawyers in those fields. He's also a leader in the Maryland legal community, as we might expect from a UB Law graduate. He served on the MSBA, the Maryland State Bar Association Board of Governors, and on the Executive Council of the Baltimore City Bar Association, and has been a true advocate for pro bono services for underserved Marylanders. And Alan is a member of the legendary Garton family. You know, there are some families that have really made UB home over the years and over the generations, and perhaps none of them as prominent as the Garton family. Alan's father, Herb Garton, who I think may be with us in some fashion here. I can't see all the faces on the Zoom. Herb was not a graduate of our law school. He was a graduate of the undergraduate program here at UB, then went on to get his law degree at some other law school down the street. I don't even know what law school that was. It doesn't matter. But he has remained loyal to UB, so loyal that he sent his children here. Alan graduated in 1980. Before Alan, Lawrence Garton graduated in 1977. After Alan, Eileen Garton graduated in 1985. And finally, Alan's brother Morris, who we call Maury, graduated in 1995. And the tradition continues into the next generation because Alan's nephew, Leith Garton, graduated in 2009. And all of the Gartons have been great friends and supporters of the law school. And Herb is someone who, even though he's not an alum, he's an honorary alum. And so we honor the entire Garton family. And I'm so pleased to have Alan here to say a word about Professor Shannonhouse. Take it away, Alan Garton.
Dean, thank you very much for that warm introduction. And I'll add a little bit to what you just said. But first, I want to talk about Professor Royal Graham Shannonhouse III. I had him for property. That was his main course that he taught in those years. And his reputation preceded law school. You were kind of cautioned to watch out if you get Professor Shannonhouse, just because he was a tough guy. I did a little research on him and found that things I didn't know in preparation for this speech today, that he grew up in North Carolina, and that explains that soft Southern accent that he had. And he was an honors graduate of the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and he served in the Korean War. He came to the University of Baltimore in 1969, and he had a profound influence on his fledgling law students. I found a picture of him that I'm going to ask somebody who is going to display a picture, and you can see the professor there. That's a very good representative type of picture. And that could have been taken at the time that I had him, which was in the year 1978. It's probably in his office room there. He taught at the University of Baltimore for 10, 15 years, I think I found out in my research. But you can go back now to the taking the picture off. He was really known as a quintessential law professor who inspired his students to be the best lawyers they could be. And his influence continues to this day with many of his students. He was a kind of quiet person who came to life when he was in the classroom. He was able to bridge the gap between being an entertainer and a teacher. And if anybody ever saw the movie Paper Chase, which came out in, I would say, 1975, 76, and it's about a Harvard Law School professor. And if you haven't seen it, you really need to add it to your list of movies, because it's all about the experience of law school. So I saw it in my second year of undergraduate when I was pursuing my undergraduate. And when I got a picture of what law school was like, I wasn't sure I wanted to go to law school because it scared the daylights out of me. And unfortunately, I have to tell you that Professor Shannonhouse, who had a nickname as the House, kind of fit the bill. And that's a perfect depiction of him in that movie, The Paper Chase. So he was the kind of guy that, when you were having class discussion with 100 people in there, he would call upon you and ask you to stand up and answer the question. And certainly we had rigorous assignments, and sometimes one might not be able to read all the cases that you were supposed to in preparation for the class, and you would just pray that the professor wouldn't call upon you. Well, sure enough, somebody I knew who was in the first row got called upon, and it was obvious he hadn't prepared for the class, and he tried to fumble through an answer for the professor. And I was like cringing in my seat, hearing the answer and thinking, what's going to happen? What's this professor going to say? And I was just glad I wasn't the one called upon. Well, he told this fella, who, by the way, had a lot of inner stuffing, so he could take it, the statement that the professor was about to give him, which was, son, if I were grading you right now, you would get an F. Okay. And that, and I saw that this colleague that I knew slinked down in his seat and kind of smirked, but I thought, wow, that's kind of a tough thing and a little bit of embarrassing, but you move on and you learn from that type of experience how you have to do a better job thinking on your feet and being prepared. And it's very important in court. There were some things that the professor had us do and told us while we were in the many classes, and certain things stand out to me. And one thing that he told me was, or told us when somebody started arguing with him, he says, don't argue with the judge. And I thought that was a really good life lesson and very important to keep in mind when you go into court. You got to find another way to deal with the judge rather than arguing with them. And I took that life lesson and applied it to my marriage. And fortunately, I've held on to my marriage all those years by thinking of my wife as the judge and not to argue with her. Another lesson that I learned from him was, he said is very, very important. Learn how to turn the practice of law off when you get home. So you stop thinking about it. And if you can accomplish that, you're going to live a long life if you can just drop it and turn it off. And I got to tell you, I've been practicing for 40 years and I have not figured out yet how to do that. So if you all can do that, good luck to you. One of the things I thought was really neat that he did is he gave us a homework assignment, which was like an impossible homework assignment. It involved a testamentary clause in a will that had 10 contingencies to it, and you had to figure out what the person who wrote the will was thinking when they wrote out this clause, or the lawyer that wrote it out for them. And I remember studying. He never went over the answer for us, but when it came to time to study for the final exam, I was in a study group and I spent hours and hours with my group trying to figure out what was this clause all about, and not thinking that it was going to be on the exam. And sure enough, it was on the final exam. And I thought that was a pretty neat thing that he would give us the question and surprise us and put it on the final exam. I told you his nickname was the House, and he was infamous for using language that you would not expect from a professor. It certainly was a way to get a student's attention. And back then I was wondering if that was politically correct, although we didn't have that expression, but I still questioned it. And I have no idea whether that still is done in this day and age, but it really was kind of fun to hear 4-letter words in the classroom.
We try to avoid that these days.
He gave us all kinds of interesting assignments in property where there was a building a few blocks away, a house that was completely falling apart. He told us to figure out who owned it. And the answer was, I never figured it out. I don't think anybody in the class figured it out. It was somehow that nobody wanted to claim ownership for it, including the city of Baltimore, because it was falling apart. So I would like to say to you that Dean mentioned about my family's connection to the University of Baltimore, and I want to tell you that the University of Baltimore has been just a tremendous law school, has been a great asset for my family. I would say for me, it's the second greatest asset, having a law degree from the University of Baltimore after my wife and family. And I would tell you that my father taught at the law school, taught tax law. My grandfather was a president of Eastern Law School, which was a forerunner to the University of Baltimore. Professor Angela Valeria's office, there's a plaque outside in honor of my late brother, Lawrence Garton. And can tell you, I developed so many contacts at the University of Baltimore that helped me so much in my practice of law, knowing who to call upon when I needed help in an area outside my expertise, and also knowing attorneys on the other side of cases, which helped expedite resolution and referrals back and forth. The University of Baltimore Law School is highly respected in our law community. And I will tell you that I have noticed that many people in our law community gladly and put on their resumes that they have this honor from the Royal Shannonhouse Honor Society. So you should clearly, right after this is over with, update your LinkedIn profile, put on there that you've received this honor, and make sure it's on all your resumes that you submit. So I'd like to say to all of you, congratulations on this award, and good luck with your future career.
Thank you, Alan. That was great. Really appreciate that portrait of the legendary Professor Shannonhouse. And now Dean Schultz.
Yes, now we've come to the moment of truth. My name is Vicki Schultz. I'm Associate Dean for Administration here at the Law School. And I want to add my congratulations to that of my colleagues. What an impressive accomplishment it is to have put in the hard work and done so well in your first semesters of law school. It's particularly noteworthy to have done so well during this pandemic period. We know you've all had a lot of struggles and issues, and it's particularly notable that you were able to overcome them and do so well, and we commend you on that. So without further ado, it's time now to induct the members you into the Royal Graham Shannonhouse III Honor Society. First, we will induct the distinguished scholars of the Royal Graham Shannonhouse Society. I will be reading your names. We want to recognize each one of you individually. Zachary Babbo, Christopher Barnes, Brandon Bish, Michael Blanchard, Lisa Blitzstein, Patrick Brooks, Erin Carrington Smith, Joshua Garrett, Julianne Green, Rachel Henderson, Joel Jordan, Andrew Lowen, Sabrina Marquez, Ellen Pruitt, Katerina Quezada Lozano, Jared Stape, Mark Wiener, and Claudia Wozniak. If we were together, I would have you all clap for our distinguished scholars. And we'll be sharing a certificate with all of the inductees. Now we wish to recognize those being inducted into the Royal Graham Shannonhouse III Honor Society. Catherine Avery, Tyler Beal, Kevin Baines, Stephen Bright, Marisa Casares, Najma Celestine Donner, John Chase, Antonina Clay, Kyle Coleman, Jillian Crescenzi, Brendan Cubis, Anita DiCarlo, Anne-Marie Doer, Brendan Duff, Lucas Judy, Bradley Irwin, Lindsay Eshelman, Megan Farnham, Celia Feldman, Juliana Felkowski, Paula Flores, Aidan Galloway, Matthew Graham, Daniel Grossman, Rebecca Quay, Emily Halley, Corey Horowitz, Lisa Hutton, Sina Jahan Shahi, Autumn James, Zachary Jones, Neha Khan, Anthony Kaiser, Regan Levitt, Alexander Lee, Emily Leffler, Aaron Litz, John Mahoney, Carrie Martiniano, Bridget McCarthy, Clifton McLean, Eliza McDermott, Alexa Mellis, Jay Metzbauer, Taylor Miller, Loreto Noguera, Olubusola Olanre Wahoo, Patrick O'Leary, Patrick Owen, Camille Pappy, Luke Hinton, Kimberly Rios Simmons, Felicia Rue, Ariana Sahad, Cody Saunders, Hunter Scott, James Shea, Mary Elizabeth Silva, Victoria Skinner, Craig Snyder, Lauren Stone, Brandon Stouffer, Brett Tarzi, Robert Taylor, Kylie Tejera, Brianna Thomas, Andrew Toms, Regina Berzino, Joshua Wade, Jacqueline Wangle, Dalton Warren, Jessica Weber, Haley Wiseman, Aaron Winkelmeyer, Janai Woodhouse, Stephanie Yamoha, Kayla York. And with that, congratulations to all the members of the Royal Graham Shannonhouse III Honor Society. We wish you all the best. And now to Dean Weich.
There we go. Well, thanks, Dean Schultz, for that. It was kind of quite a lift there, all those names, but that's fabulous that so many students have succeeded in these early semesters, and so we're glad to recognize everybody. I, in conclusion, want to address myself to two different groups who are on the Zoom here beyond the students. First of all, as I said, we have quite a few members of the UB Law faculty with us today, and I know I speak for them in expressing great pride in you. We circulate the program to the faculty so they can see which of their students have succeeded. And I know that each of them is so proud and happy for you. So please let me speak for them in expressing their congratulations. Oops, we have someone who needs to mute themselves there. There we go. I'm a host, I can mute you. And the other group I want to speak to are the family members and loved ones and friends of the inductees. Law school is not a solitary exercise. It really requires a great support system. And the hours that you have put in to study, to be prepared for those professors, they may not be as blunt as Professor Shannonhouse, but all of your professors want you to be prepared for class. And so you're doing a lot of reading and writing and preparing for every exercise that comes up in class. And I know to give you that time and support to succeed, your family and friends have been vital in that effort. So they join in congratulating you, and I congratulate them on their family members' success here. It's a joyful day. So even though we're not in person, let's all be really happy and give all of ourselves a virtual pat on the back for this success. And what I want to say to you in conclusion is, keep going, keep going. This is not the end. This is just one important step in your legal education and your legal career. You've come this far and done so well. You have tremendous potential. Bring to the rest of your law school years and the years that follow the same dedication and focus and dedication to the principles and values of the legal profession that you have demonstrated already. So with those words, I invite you to celebrate with those family members in your socially distant ways. And we look forward so much to having you back in the building that's displayed behind me. Someday we'll get to say congratulations in person, but for now, please accept the congratulations in this form. Well done, everybody. Have a good night.